just for heat clear, just to, yeah,
Is that okay?
because that's right on.
Thank you very much.
I just brought a copy, I don't want to do anything with it.
Okay, folks, like to call this meeting to order. Let's rise and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, tonight we have a fairly light meeting so far, but we'll do the guest and audience comments first, as we usually do. And, sir, are you a member of the, you here for guest and audience comments? Just to listen? Okay. And we'll do guest and audience comments and no approval of the meeting minutes from August 11th. Chairman's report, and includes the various subcommittee reports, as well as discussion on the financial policies regarding grant authorization policy. Then the first selectman's report, but she's absent tonight, so we'll skip that. And then number 6 is the finance director's report. Valerie will go over the year-to-date financials and give us an update on the audit. Then there's old business, new business, which we have no subjects currently listed, and then adjournment. Okay. First and foremost, guest and audience comments. Okay, state your name and address.
David Carbo.
Please stand up,
Sure.
because the microphone is direction sensitive
Mind
apparently.
if I sit here?
That's,
Okay.
yeah, that's perfect actually. So,
David Carbo, 53 Wickham Road.
okay, thank you.
So I'm here tonight in opposition of the golf course proposal that the town is thinking of owning. I know that I wrote in an editorial. It has not gone into print yet with the East Haddam newspaper. And essentially what I advocated for is the property, if you're gonna buy it, I think it should be multifunctional use. What I mean by multifunctional use, it could be event space, camping space, hiking space, concert space, certainly some development. And then I also advocated for the potential of a 9-hole course. But after hearing the gentleman that spoke last month, and I am a golfer, the logistics of owning a golf course, the complexities, the risk involved with ADA, I would say that I think it's a very bad idea for the town of East Haddam, given our tax base, to own a golf course. When I looked at Berlin, Simsbury, West Hartford, they're at least 3x our tax revenue. Like I said, I am a golfer, and one of the things that you're going to have to deal with is competition. There's 6 18-hole golf courses within this vicinity. Is there any golfers on the board? 1. Okay. So there's 6 18-hole golf courses within this vicinity. 3 are in Portland, right off 66. 3 a little further out in Hebron. All right, and they're well-established courses. They have competitive rates. And the other thing you have to remember, being that you're not golfers, is golfing is very seasonal. So 5 months out of the year, November to March, you're not getting any money whatsoever. All right, so that's, you got to deal with that. I know the Economic Development Commission, I think they pushed this project through too quickly without what we did in the corporate world is what we call a gate review. And a gate review is where you have to pass certain metrics before a project can be justified. And I think this project was just pushed through way too fast with no justification. That's just my opinion. I understand what it is. It's basically jumpstart the development in the Danner Estates area and the Moodus area. But I strongly feel you want to do that on the backs of the taxpayer. Okay? And then the town is taking all of the risk. So you have to assess that. And that's where I think that it jump-started out of the EDC a little bit too quickly. Their argument is it's going to bring in tax revenue. Certainly there will be some revenue. I've been following their meetings. They're going to have like 60 to 70 condos they're thinking of building. But this really benefits two entities. It benefits the landowners of Banner and it benefits the condo association. All right, and we're taking all the risk. The argument that there's going to be a lot of tax money coming in, that will be eaten up with bonding, reconstruction, and the cost of running a golf course just with fertilizers, weed control agents, equipment, personnel. You know, you're talking tens, if not $100,000 a year, right? And the gentleman that spoke here last month, he said, before you even sell one round of golf, you gotta have people on the payroll. So all of that's got to be assessed, and that's why I think that they jumped out of the gate a little bit too quickly. What I would like to see is the Economic Development Commission pivot and try to get industry into our town. One of the things that we have a good resource for is land. Why aren't we offering free building lots for industry to come into our town? Why aren't we waiving permitting fees? Why aren't we offering tax incentives? The EDC needs to get up to Hartford, to Middletown. They need to go to business trade shows that I used to go to. They need to talk with these people. They need to entice these people to get them down here. We can work with these people. The state of Connecticut will probably give them money if they plan on building. I think that they're trying to extract growth out of the residents. That's how I feel. And I look at this as a high debt, high risk, and there's no off-ramp. Once you're on the railroad tracks, you are stuck with this project. And if you go belly up, I mean, no one bought the course, right? And so if the town goes belly up with the golf course, you're going to sell this thing pennies on the dollar. So again, it's a very singular use proposal. I understand what they want to do, but it's too high risk that I see. And there's no off ramp, and then the town has all this risk. There's no shared risk here from what I see. So I'll be happy to answer any questions as a golfer. No?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? Query?
Doesn't matter which side I go to?
It's in the middle.
That's the junior speakers.
You got it.
Good seat.
I'm Curry Brownell, Chairman of Planning and Zoning Commission for this town of East Haddam, Connecticut. There are two things I'd like to mention. I'm not used to sitting out in this area. I'm more comfortable up there, and I do apologize if my face gets red and stuff. It's just the way I am. At the last meeting that we were at, we went into executive session. Talked about executive session. A point was brought up by one of the commission members. I had talked to your chairman about this, but I just want to make sure that it does get out there, Todd. If a commission member on any commission brings in information that they have looked at on their own, outside of the commission, outside of anything doing here, they cannot use that information to try to sway the rest of that commission. That information has to be shared equally. That means any information that someone might have brought in, they were talking about the costs of redoing greens and this and that. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but no one else has that information. No one else has that, can look at it and interpret it possibly in a different way. That information has to be shared equally and in writing, whether it's electronic or on paper. And it happened, and I feel that that information needs to be struck from the people that were here that evening, because unless that gentleman wants to share all that information written, it has to be thrown out. And that goes for all commissions. I've had to do it on my board several times, because people forget. You cannot go out, you can go out and look, but you have to have the channels to go through, so everyone is on an equal basis, so everyone can make the same decision and or talk about it on an equal level. The second point I would like to bring up is, I'm seeing a trend, or actually, let me ask you a question. What is the charge of the Finance Commission?
Well, to manage and control and follow the finances of this.
Just finance?
Finance.
Okay. Then why are people bringing up business things here? You need to go up and look at Hartford, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's my commission. That's not a finance commission. You guys are only interested in, is it going to work financially?
These folks are here, this is a public meeting,
Correct.
and these folks are here as members of the audience, and they can, as long as they do it civilly, they can express their thoughts
I
and comments.
understand that.
And we listen, and you listen too, apparently.
Mhm.
So that's what it's all about. We
But I've
don't,
heard your commission going down that road also, and it kind of bothered me that you're making decisions that should come to my commission on businesses, it's like, well, gee, I'm not sure if this is a good idea for the town. It doesn't matter what you think, whether or not it will make it or not. Financially, is it gonna work? And that is your charge. Please, let's, don't overrun each other's commissions. I'm not gonna go and ask about finances, and no one's gonna come to me and ask about finances. So no one should be on your commission saying, oh, geez, financially, it might work, but I don't think it's a good thing for the town, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's not your charge.
well, one thing is to discuss, another thing is to
Correct.
propose a motion and vote on it. We're not voting on those matters, we vote on financial matters.
But it seems to me, from my observation, I'm seeing it creep in. That people are starting to think beyond the finances and starting to think about, the plan of conservation development and or planning for the future. That's another commission's responsibility. And I'd be more than welcome to come in and talk about this some other time, or we can email each other.
I'm sure if we came to a decision on whether it's proper for the town or not, we would not make that decision. We would ask you guys for input.
And I go to the voters also.
Yeah, we all go to the voters,
Correct.
but our focus is on finance.
Exactly.
And we intend to have it focused on finance.
And I hope you do.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you for coming.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Bill.
I know it's not our province to comment, but since Mr. Brownell was directing his comment for number one at me, and you could have at least said so. I did have a meeting. I've told everybody I had a meeting. And I also
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
excuse me,
said.
I believe I have the floor. Thank you. I was recognized for it through the chair. And the only thing I didn't know is I was not aware that I had to put it in writing. So I want to thank you for pointing that out to me. And I will correct that error. But I will tell you that this board was aware of what I did. And nothing was discussed in that meeting, candidly, that wasn't discussed publicly right here, just so you know. Thank you for your courtesy.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Michael Callahan. I live at 21 Augusta Circle at Banner, and I've been a resident of this town for 30 years. I would like to talk about two interconnected issues that I see, that I think are vital for the town. Our grand list and restoration of Black Birch Golf Course. East Haddam, like many small towns, relies on property taxes to fund essential services. Growing the grand list is a challenge without new development and an influx of people. Without growth, the burden weighs on our existing homeowners, leading to higher taxes and/or the need for borrowing. To spur growth, we must attract people to our town. Businesses choose to locate in areas where people live and participate. For example, Hartford, after the urban renewal efforts of the 1960s, eliminated housing downtown, and the downtown area fell into decline. I know. I worked in downtown Hartford from 1972 to 2007. At 5 o'clock, it was a ghost town. Sound familiar? Only housing recent resurgence revitalized downtown Hartford. Moodus was once a hub supported by residents and nearby resorts. Our own urban renewal and those closed resorts have seen a very similar decline, including people. Simple improvements will not bring people back. We need people actively engaging with our community. This is where the restoration of the Black Birch Golf Course becomes important to Moodus. By investing in this course, we create a destination that will draw people to Moodus and surrounding areas, generate new revenue, and revitalize our community. A refurbished golf course will enhance our landscape, but it will serve as a social and recreational hub for residents and visitors alike. The facility can host events and tournaments, community gatherings, foster a sense of connection and community pride. My vision is to focus on revitalizing Moodus rather than East Haddam Village, which has limited growth potential because of the prevalence of existing tax-exempt properties in a smaller footprint. We should prioritize developing housing on key sites, such as the McKenna property, creating a walkable neighborhood. This will only grow our core community, but will also increase our local business and expand the grand list. Ultimately, it could be expanded towards the elementary school and the municipal office area. East Haddam Village has the opposite problem. The village benefits from people drawn by the Goodspeed already, but we as a town do not fully capitalize on this opportunity because nothing exists, and the high percentage of tax-exempt properties from which we gain little. We've already lost money because we give everybody a tax break in the village area. We need to tailor any development to the patrons of Goodspeed rather than serving residents. I think a small boutique hotel might be the answer, similar to the Ocean House. We don't need to compete with apartments in Haddam, the quaintness of Chester or Essex, but we can capitalize on something. The Goodspeed provides a captive audience of people, which we could utilize to capture value from lodging for the benefit of the town and the region. Let's remember, it takes people to build a village. The restoration of the golf course is key to bringing people back to our community. Let's not repeat past mistakes by removing people or not taking advantage of them, and then wondering why growth stalls. Instead, let's seize opportunities to use our existing resources wisely, attracting people to Moodus through revitalization and creating more value in East Haddam Village will be a significant benefit to our community and its residents. This represents smart development as it generates commercial versus residential value, primarily from visitors not town citizens. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mike.
I have a copy.
And copies.
Yeah, I have multiple copies
Sure.
for members.
Thank you.
And I will say that, I have been working with Chairman Casher at the Economic Development Commission to try to do something to stimulate growth. That's what we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'm Bob Kasner, I'm Chairman of Economic Development. Since we're talking a little bit about economic development here, I thought that I would just like to make a couple of quick comments here. That we've been working on basically the golf course for probably about a year now, and trying to take and make sure that our numbers are accurate numbers. I have been for the past 2 months now reviewing them and getting more updated numbers. Especially on the things that came up at the executive session meetings here, and basically the irrigation. I've had 2 different companies out there evaluating the course, evaluating the existing irrigation systems and equipment, and also what the flows have to be to make these areas work, and the different heads that you can put onto them to take and control the amount of water you utilize. These systems are totally computer oriented, and fortunately that course has a relatively new computer system for doing the irrigation on the course, and I think that I've been very pleased to take and hear what the consultants had to say about the existing system, the existing pumps, and I think also about how that system can be expanded to cover the fairways if we wanted to. And also I think that the other big issue out there is what is the greens going to cost this year. I've had 2 different companies out there evaluating the greens to see what they will take me to do, and the different ways in which to do it. Of course, when we're dealing with landscaping, there's many alternatives here. We can do it in several different ways, and I think that we have to decide based on a budget just exactly which way we want to take it involved. So I think that the numbers that we have presented to the board are I would say very, very close to be what I'm hearing from updated numbers. Things are changing, of course, in the marketplace daily, but I think we're still in the ballpark of the numbers that we have. So what I will be doing though is reviewing those numbers, reviewing basically what the contractors have said, and also basically making sure that our total proposal is in line with what we see in the marketplace right now. And overall, as Mike brought out, we're looking at ways in which we can basically have some commercial growth in our villages, all of our villages. I don't want to pick one village against another. I want to take and say we want to do it for the business community. And I think that the business community will all benefit from any time we bring in people into the community. They're going to come across the bridge, they're going to come down Route 9, Route 2, and so I think it will benefit all of us. And I think that hopefully that's what we will see. And I will be, as soon as I have my numbers so that I feel comfortable, I will bring them back to you. I will share them with you, and we can work with it. And I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Todd Davis, 40 AP Gates Road. I'm actually a golf course superintendent. And you might consider that property raw land, for what kind of shape it's in right now. He's talking about redoing the greens, that's like a start over. And I know the golf course is only half irrigated. There's, they did some greens, tees, not all fairways, but not all top fairways. Equipment, you might as well say they have nothing, it's all garbage. And the maintenance shop they have is down by that little lake, and it's really nothing to it, and that's gonna be going away because he's proposed building condos on it. So where's the maintenance shop?
Can't answer that question.
Yeah, so I mean, then with water, there's not enough water there to irrigate the whole place for growing. Even with the back lake, there's not enough water to take gravity feed off that. And Connecticut Water owns all the water. I mean, they never got a water diversion permit for that property. They let it go. So now, if you're gonna drill a well, it's gonna be your cost, and you're gonna pay for the water that's pumped out of that well and pay to Connecticut Water. So. And I mean, parking lot, if you look at the parking lot, how many spots are in there? If you're gonna do a tournament, we have a parking lot that fills 120 spots. That parking lot, for a tournament, for a full tournament, it's 144 people. That's a shotgun tournament for a full course. And we fill our spots. I mean, everything there at Beaver River, that's where I'm the superintendent, Richmond, Ohio.
Ask him a question?
No. That's next, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. This is audience comments.
Yes.
Audience comments, that's it.
Praised,
I just didn't hear I didn't hear his opening statement, that's all. Where he's from and what's his name. What's your,
40 AP Gates Road,
okay,
and I'm a superintendent at Beaver River Golf Course in Richmond, Rhode Island.
okay, that's what I,
And gentlemen.
that's what I, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and there's others. There's a list. I'm trying to think right now. I didn't should have written it down.
Well, we'll have this discussion again.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you the other day because it wouldn't put my dogs chasing around the yards.
It's a tough job.
Oh, yeah, also cost of staffing.
Say again, what's,
Cost of staffing, it's a municipal golf course, so you're gonna pay union wages for anybody that's on your staff. You're gonna pay them, a guy digging a hole, doesn't matter. You're gonna pay them top dollar. It's not like in a pension.
thank you. Anybody else? Okay. All right, I have one comment to read. And this is from Pat Burke. And, okay, here we go. While the Board of Finance considers the pros and cons of a town-owned golf course, I'd like to share these thoughts. Number one, residents have a concern over the viability and profitability of the course. The property has operated as a golf course for close to 60 years until recently closing. Studies done by professional golf course management companies indicate a properly run course, you guys got a copy too, right?
Mhm.
Okay. A properly run course will succeed and thrive. These same companies operate several municipal-owned companies in the area, and they all turn a profit. Number two, let's consider the scenario where the golf course ends up just breaking even for the town. The course will provide a service to the community. The course will enhance the town's image and boost property values in Moodus. The course provides a recreational outlet for the residents, similar to the many hiking trails in town. The course will bring an estimated 20,000 visitors per year into the town. Some of these golfers will buy food, gas, groceries, etc. at local merchants. There is nothing else being discussed that will increase the much-needed customer base to the local merchants. Even if, worst case, the golf course, I think he left out the word course, the golf course just breaks even. There are many advantages to the town. The fact that golf course will provide revenue is just a bonus. Number three, the town and the Board of Finance is considering several bonding requirements. One is for a new library. let's not get this confused. The bond issue that we're talking about for September the 16th does not include the library. That's not on the table at the moment. It includes fixing roads, fire engines, and a culvert. Just want to be clear, because I don't want people thinking that we are considering a new library for bonding at the moment. We're not. Comparing a new library cost and community value to the golf course shows why the golf course is a much better idea. A library does provide a service to the residents of town, just like the golf course. A library can enhance the community's image, just like the golf course. However, the library provides a limited value to a small subsection of residents just in town. The golf course will be used by many more people and brings in out-of-town visitors. The library costs 3 times as much to purchase and build compared to the golf course. It requires significant town money to operate, and every year is an expense line item in the budget. The golf course pays its own bills and generates revenue. Both the library and golf course are good ideas for East Haddam. Both can be considered. If you choose just one, golf makes much more sense. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, that's only one, or there's more?
Just that for now, one more time, just for.
Okay.
Okay. That's it for now.
Okay. No other comments from the audience? Yes, sir.
Jim Velka, 39 Gates Road. Just one comment, and that is
Excuse me, what's your last name?
Velka, V's and Peter, A, V's and Victor, E-L-K-A.
Okay, I see it now. Thank you.
So the only question I have, and really it's just something to think about, is if the golf course is such a great deal and it would even just break even, why hasn't anybody else bought it? That's the only comment I have. I know it's been on the market for a long time. No one else, other golf courses have looked at it. They've assessed it. No one has come up and said they can make it work. And so why does the town think they can make it work? And that's my only input. And I think our taxes are high enough, and I don't know what the risk is.
Thank you. Okay.
I know the appraisal was done, but nobody ever saw where the appraisal was that ever let out. I know appraiser appraised the golf course.
Yes, but it's not public information, as best I know,
Yeah, well, I know it was
at
appraised.
this time.
Yeah, I just didn't know what it came back at, and I mean, he could have said whatever it could be, but how much is it gonna take to get to that point?
That's a question. We can't answer it this time. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next item on the agenda. Approval of the meeting minutes.
Thank you.
I didn't see any either.
I didn't see any minutes.
I'm telling you, these copiers are.
Did
Did it work for you today though?
It did.
Did you get minutes?
I am so sorry.
She
I
printed
don't know
something
why
else.
this didn't happen.
Okay, we'll read the minutes at the next meeting.
Or I can print them off in a minute.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Oh, okay,
We'll print them, yeah.
okay. Well,
I move that we change the order of business to put approval of minutes to the last item before adjournment.
is there a second?
Second,
Wow, eager.
get it done.
I think Lorraine.
She got it
Okay,
first.
okay, all right.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Anybody against? Nope, okay. Motion passed. Okay, meeting minutes at the end of the meeting. Okay. Chairman's report is next, and the first on the report is board subcommittee reports, communications. We don't have much to report, except that we need to get out the referendum signs, roadside signs for the referendum of the 16th. Don't forget, there's a bond referendum next week.
If I can, Terry, just a
Sure.
reminder to people. People have been asking about what we can and can't do. We had that at the public hearing.
Yeah,
We cannot advocate anything other than get out and vote.
that's right.
And so people need to understand that's the only thing we are allowed to advocate.
Thank you, Bill. And I gotta get with Linda. I sent her email as well. I need help get the signs out, let you guys know. Eric helped last time, early in the morning. So did I. So, okay, it's real important, because I sense a lot of people in town don't know about the vote next week.
Early voting, available.
I'm not sure you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Absentee maybe.
Absentee, definitely.
Absentee, yes.
I don't know whether you can early vote on the referendum.
There's no
Can't
state
they?
law.
All right,
I
I'll
don't
go in and
think-
talk to.
I don't think, well, I don't,
Where are you, Linda?
but definitely absentee.
Right,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
definitely, yep.
All right. Okay. So that's our job, along with help from the rest of the board. So we should put the signs out. And, okay, next is long range.
Mr. Chairman?
Excuse me?
May I?
Yes. Oh, yes.
We had,
I got a report for you.
Harvey, I know you divided it by 6 and I wasn't here last week. Is that
I have
right?
yours.
You have mine, okay.
okay, good. Then you're excused, right? For cause.
Right back.
You want
Table that.
Mr. Barney.
to,
Yeah, I
you want
think
to table it, or
And
you
then you
want to
can give me
discuss it
my-
now? I mean, it's part of communication, I guess.
Yes, it is. We should table it, Harvey.
Next meeting? So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Eric seconds. Oh, she's gone.
Oh, we got 4 votes. Goodbye.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's gonna be an agenda, Harvey, for the next meeting.
You did say we would.
Yes,
Put it in the paper that we would.
You're absolutely right.
So,
absolutely.
Okay, October. I'll deliver it to you.
Oh, you don't have it in the pocket?
No, I mean, like,
Okay.
yeah, okay. All right, next is on the agenda, it's, under board subcommittee reports, Long Range Capital Improvements Committee.
yes. If you would turn to the page right before the budget report. A suggestion. A little history first, I guess, maybe. Several years ago, Bill DeCristofaro, Cindy Verricchio, and I, as the policy subcommittee, devised a method, a process for ranking and evaluating and ranking capital projects. For the first couple of years, it worked reasonably well. But it was done in Excel, and when we moved to ClearGov, things got a little less smooth, to put it mildly. This past year, the budget that we voted on this last July, the process was, it involved, as designed, a committee that would receive the requests, and the committee would come to a consensus on ranking. It's Valerie will check me on this, but it's like a 6 or 8 member committee. Long range.
Yeah, yeah. it's-
So, and people sat around for a couple of evenings for a couple of hours. But when we got to the end of the process, the Board of Education and Board of Selectmen, who had representation on the committee, sort of said, we don't like the way the answers come out. So we're just going to ignore that and pick a number, a total budgeted amount for capital projects divided down the middle, go do what you want. That doesn't seem like the best way to do it. And so what's on this page that you all dutifully turn to is a suggestion that rather than have 8 people spend a couple of evenings and have their work thrown in the hopper in the dumpster at the last moment, my suggestion, and it's only me at this point, is that each department, Public Works, Park and Rec, whoever, enters into ClearGov their capital requests and ranks them using the factors that are in ClearGov. And if this idea has any appeal to you, we'll go over the factors, okay? Then, for those people who report to the Board of Ed and the superintendent review, here's all the projects our people put in, here's the rankings we gave them. I think this one should really be ranked higher, this one lower, blah, blah, blah. You decide, right? Same on the Board of Selectmen side, okay? The point here is, once they do that, it should be our request of them that those the ranks you gave them, sign off on them, because that's what we're going to use. Okay. Then we put the town side and the Board of Ed side together with all of them ranked out, right? Just a matter of merging the lists and then putting them in score order. Then my suggestion is that it's our job primarily then to look at all those ranked projects, calling on any input, discussion, whatever, from Board of Selectmen, Board of Ed, whatever staff who could contribute to our understanding what's going on. Then we either agree or disagree. We could say, oh, we want to move this one up because we've heard from everybody and it makes sense to us. But once that is settled, that's the deal. Then when we decide we're going to spend X million dollars on capital, right? Everything is ranked out in, so to speak, priority order with the dollars associated. When we get to that, when we've exhausted the funds we're prepared to spend, that's the list, that's the way it goes. And whether the Board of Ed gets 50 projects or one, or the town gets 27 or none, that's just the way the system works. So I'm not asking anybody to decide anything this evening. What I'd like to ask, if you would, is to give this some thought. If it's at all of interest, we can go into the little bitsies, how are things ranked and all of that. But it seemed to me to be a disservice to the people who spent a couple of evenings in good faith going through, doing what they were asked to do. Then when we get to the end, people say, oh, I don't like it. Well, you created it and you don't like it. I'm sorry about that. But this is a suggestion for how to lock people into their, at your rankings, you reviewed them, you signed off on them. Don't come back at the end now and say, unless, I mean, obviously, a boiler could burst,
Right.
right?
That's what I was gonna bring up.
Emergency stuff. But other than that, otherwise we're just spinning wheels and not really being good stewards of.
So you're saying, as opposed to saying, we've got $800,000 to spend on capital, you get four, decide which projects. The projects are ranked, so say like safety is the most important, security and safety, or fire and safety or something. So if the town has 27 fire and safety projects and the school has none, unfortunately we have to prioritize health and safety or fire and safety, whatever. So the town would get it all, and this year the board would get nothing, the Board of Ed.
Or it could flip the other way.
Right.
The reason for merging the rankings of both sides into one, so to speak, master list is what the town ranked number one, or high, may not really be as important or maybe actually score less than what something the Board of Ed had. And if you give,
Right,
if you give each of them $400,000,
right.
a not so important project would get done at the expense of a more important.
I think it's a great place to start.
Also,
I agree too, but I need to ask a question.
Go for it.
Okay. So I'm gonna try to make this as simple as I can. So the Board of Selectmen has their list and they rank their own list.
Yep.
Board of Ed has their list and they rank their own list. And then they submit it. And then we, the Board of Finance, adjust that. Who merges that ranking?
Well,
I do. I arrange all the stuff out of ClearGov.
Well, then they get together.
But it all, the mechanism is all ClearGov.
Right, I
For
happen to be reviewing prior Board of Ed meetings, and I picked one from like 2023 that you're actually talking about this. And there were, like you said, metrics where, again, like, is it health and safety? Is it fire? Is
Yeah,
it
and
mandated?
They're weighted.
Right,
So
is
that
it
even if you put
mandated? So,
one,
right.
It's heavily.
Right, so if I just
Yeah.
arbitrarily as first selectman say, well, this is a priority, this is a 1, and that means nothing. But if you've got this metrics that says like health and safety gets a 1 point and a state mandate gets 2 points and whatever else the
yes,
metrics are.
exactly. We can go over
Then
that.
it's a objective or
Yes.
So you weight
ranking,
the items.
yeah, based on
They're
certain
weighted by their
metrics.
Naturally, they're categorically important.
Yes.
priority,
Yes.
Independent of people's thought. So as much as possible. Okay, so that's how, so we use the metrics to merge the list.
Yes.
Okay, so it's out of, all right, that's good. That's what I want to be sure about.
Yeah,
Okay.
but-
Well, and then
system
there's
splits out a score
conversation, you're
after
saying, so that like, if there's something that maybe doesn't hit those 3, but for some other extenuating circumstance is a priority, there could be conversation and rankings can be adjusted.
Well, in fairness to my idea, I'm just running my mouth now. In fairness, it would seem like we get this total, the master list. We should examine it. Does it pass the eye test? If you got, to use your example, we've got some fire and safety thing that's way down on the list. We say, that just doesn't make sense. So come talk to us and explain so we know better. And then if it looks like it, we can move it up or down. Right? But not arbitrarily, but in
Yeah.
consultation with.
So basically a sanity check.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Or a smell test, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't smell, but that's right though. So basically we're using metrics to help with the prioritization. And then it comes down to money. It's a simple arithmetic. Just add up what each project costs until we get to the limit.
Yes, but at the risk of repetition, once the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Ed have signed off on their rankings, then you can't come back later and say, I don't like the answer, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Otherwise it screws up the whole process. Passed over again.
Then it becomes just arbitrary and
Again.
the squeaky wheel gets the grease and all that. So if we're of a consensus, then we've got a little time before we have to get too worried about this, but I would like to see, just based on my experience in the past, I would like to see the requests for capital go out early.
Yeah, they usually do. They go out a little bit earlier than
Right. So we got a little elbow room to talk about this again, and
December usually.
Val and I will put together something that shows what the metrics are. And maybe we'll even wamp up an example of,
Yeah, we can put it up on the screen.
yeah, here's 10 projects that we just made up out of whole cloth, how they would get ranked, how the process would go.
Could you do that by our next meeting?
Oh, yeah, it's all in ClearGov right now.
Okay, so we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes. I just wanted to give you a fair warning.
Yeah.
Stuff was coming down the pike.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Eric.
Harvey, you have this written down as a process. Our service, we're big on policy. See this written in the policy, so we can't really.
There is a policy in our book
Yep.
that reflects what we're gonna throw away and
Okay.
substitute this, and we'll put that
Okay.
in more detail, and it's about 6 pages.
Okay.
But yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you, Eric, that's a good point.
That's where we plan to go.
Okay, thank you, Harvey. That's a good example of continuous improvement. Okay, and then the next item is financial policies regarding grant authorization policy.
No, that was old from,
I was
what
gonna
we
say,
already
I
did
thought
that
that
last
got
year,
approved.
yeah.
It's
Took care of
in-
that
just
one.
say it's in there.
We took care of
Yeah.
that one, yeah.
Well, we could do it again, it was so much fun.
I mean.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll move on to, we'll skip the first selectman's report. She's not here, so we'll go to the finance director's report.
Yeah, so we have here our first month of 2026 financials. I want to clarify that when we saw our last June financials, I did clarify at the time they weren't completed. And I remember Todd had a lot of questions about the Board of Education side. So we still are reconciling and closing out the year with them. So instead of throwing another number out there, I just decided to move on to our 2026 financials. You guys will see June again before we present to auditors. But I think in the interim of, we have an interim business manager trying to learn. Hopefully there'll be a business manager coming in. We're just taking a little bit longer to reconcile between the town and both sides. So.
Do we think we'll have that by the next meeting or in July?
I hope so, because we have to have everything to auditors hopefully in November, so. This
Okay.
was something that I probably wanted to have already by now, but, we're still working towards it, so. More to come on June year-end close.
So we look forward to seeing it on our next, the agenda of our next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll kind of keep it an item that we'll continue to talk about. This is July of, first year of 26. I will say it's a poor representation for revenue. Again, the finance office, even on the town side, is behind. You'll notice that, you know, the taxes collected likely are not what was collected, right? It says 21,000. She's collected way more than that. It just hasn't been closed out. July hasn't been fully closed out and recorded. So you'll probably see another July again. So I'm gonna kind of owe you guys updated financials as we go along and close out the months. Any questions? I'm more than happy to answer.
I just wanted to normally do that, like,
It's always really, it's the July, August months are really, really busy. There's a lot of catch up, right? So we're toggling 2 years at one time. By now, I would have liked to have a closed July in my hand, but it is also kind of early in September. So I think probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll close out July. So it just didn't meet this target of the meeting date.
I just was gonna like October by the time we see June, you know, it's just
Yeah,
kind
it's
of.
getting, I know. Tell me about
Okay.
it. I agree with you 100%. Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm not the teacher. He's the. I
Yes,
said
Bill.
yes, I called on him like I'm the teacher.
Will we at our October meeting have an idea on the growth of the grand list? I believe that's based on October 1.
It is, but the assessor has until January to file. So we won't have good numbers till about January. That's
So,
when they
Bill,
wrap
I agree with
everything
you.
up.
I brought up the same thing as well, and I talked to Denise
Yeah.
the tax collector, and I understand there are adjustments that are done, but the bulk of the money's in, the bulk of the,
We also don't
assessing.
have an acting assessor right now, so that's the other.
okay.
So we're.
I'd like to
we're
get it before
hiring
January as
assessor.
well.
Yeah,
My only reason, if I can, Mr. Chairman, is to get an idea. I'm not gonna point, well, this is around, election. But I don't wanna wait till January to find out just what it is. I mean, give me a rough idea. We
Yeah.
leave
again,
that,
we don't have an acting assessor right now, so once we hire one and we have them in place, we can certainly ask those questions when that time comes. But it's not like October 1, a button is pushed and the numbers just spit out of the computer. There's a lot of work that
Okay.
goes into it, so 100% I could have an update for you guys in October.
that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah,
So-
we probably won't have a number, but it's very common. Budget season starts in January, you get the grand list, that's very common timeframe.
I think what Bill's getting at, and I have the same feeling, is that I would like to have an idea at the start of the budget season what our revenue is going to be,
Right.
so we can set expectations with both the town and the Board of Ed of what
Correct, yeah.
what the parameters look like, so that, because I feel like, the Board of Ed goes through their process and they put hours and hours and meetings into developing their budget. And then we get to our numbers and we look at the revenue and we say, we can't support this. And then I feel like that's when a lot of friction develops, that, they've worked so hard on their numbers that it's hard for them to make
know
adjustments
what
at that point.
The affordability of everything. is.
Right.
the big
So I
picture,
think
right.
we need to set expectations
I hear you.
earlier of, this is what the town can afford. Our
Yeah.
grand list, like this year, our grand list, not that the grand list went down, but like because of the shift in the property tax valuation, like I guess our grand
Lots
list
of
did go
large
down, right?
portions, right.
So I think it would have been a good idea to come right out of the gate of that tri-board meeting, or even before, with sort of expectations.
Yeah, and I guess the trouble of that year too is that because of all the changes that happened so quickly, we filed an extension to go to February before we knew the number.
Yeah.
Because of the changes
Because of
that
the
the state
changes.
did,
So we won't have that this year.
Right, so I'm hoping we'll have a sitting assessor in place very soon. This person already knows the expectations of the time frame and
Yeah.
what has to be done, so it won't be a shocking question when we ask, right, so I will definitely,
So when is the tri-board meeting? Is that January?
it's usually January 29th.
January. And I feel like
Yeah.
Board of Ed starts their budget, they've already started their budget.
Yeah, because they have to have it approved
Right.
before.
So like
right?
we need to have something to say by like November.
That's right. I've already had this discussion with the chairman of the Board of Education, because we're not happy either with the timing. And the tri-board has really been not as effective as it could and should be.
Right.
So we like to have the Board of Education, Board of Finance come together on our finances, know our numbers hard, in November. Because
Yeah.
hear me out.
We won't know our finances for
We
now.
gotta hear me out, because this is important, and I understand your problem, that
Yeah, we
the
won't
chairman,
have
the chairman of
any-
education, and I talked the same thing.
Yeah.
So what we like to do is have the Board of Finance, Board of Education come together with a proposal for the new year coming. And work it out. Not to the nitty gritty, because we don't know the nitty gritty yet, but at least work it out. What we have for a goal for, say, a percentage increase in taxes. What do you think will be sustainable by the people in town? And so we have a tri-board meeting, it's really a tri-board meeting. And it includes the board, I said to the Board of Education, we want to get the Board of the Selectmen involved as well. So we really have a tri-board meeting where all three boards together set the goals, financial goals for the town for the new fiscal year.
Yeah, I agree.
And how it's been getting worse and worse, becomes through the whole 3 or 4 months of workshops and meetings, you end up you're somewhere in April or May, not knowing where you're gonna end up. We wanna start where the end justifies the means. We wanna start where we wanna end up. So we're gonna need numbers for that.
So
And-
if I may, and I don't wanna go off on a tangent, but I've talked with Harvey about this before. I attended a conference, a municipal accounting conference, where they talked about budgeting. They said, start with your revenue. Don't start with expense, right?
That's what
So
we're saying.
this is what you're saying. And so that's actually what I was going to kind of propose. And I guess my sticking point the whole time has been, not having an assessor yet, you know, but I will drive that home as well. I think it would be a great idea. We know what we're getting from the state. We can project what we're getting from interest income. We can project what we're getting in from debt service, even though it might change in January and February, right? As we continue to fine tune numbers, but at least start with what you want to increase your taxes,
Exactly.
right? And then build the expense budget in your parameters,
Right.
right? Instead of filling up your
Right.
wheelbarrow and then you can't carry it the whole way.
Well, the tire goes flat.
Right.
I mean, and quite frankly,
No-
working in
no
cooperation with them, but I see it more as like kind of our charge to tell them,
Yeah, giving budget guidance,
not,
right?
not
Like,
the
this is
three
what-
boards deciding on what the taxes are gonna go up, but like this board giving guidance to those boards.
Yes, but it involves input, excuse me, but it will involve input from all three boards. We have to work together. And yeah, the Board of Finance can lead it. This is where we are as the finance, this is the money we got. And no more, no less. Maybe less would be nice, less taxes anyway, but, so this is what we got, and, but that needs, I firmly believe it needs to be a three-board decision guided by the Board of Finance. Harvey, you gonna say something?
I've mentioned this a couple of times before that Val and I have been working on something called an outlook, which our budget policy calls for. And it's still kind of a work in progress. We haven't got everything ironed out. But we could give you what we got either at the November or the October, or either the October or November meeting. And my thought here is, in a way, what we're hoping to do is, besides showing where we've been on a bunch of things like demographics and the grand list and da-da-da, but also, if we keep doing what we're doing with grand list and we keep doing what we're doing with expenses, where are we going to end up in a couple of years? Do we like it or don't we? And that alone should almost give us enough to say, this is the percent increase that we're aiming for. And it's not a negotiation thing, it's a, this what we got.
That's right, thank you, Harvey. That'd be
So Val and
a
I,
huge improvement over what I've seen in the past 8 years in the process. Bill?
It was at least a dozen years ago when I was on the Board of Ed, and I sat in on the tri-board then. It didn't take place at the end of January. And at the end of that meeting, the Board of Ed, the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Finance walked out understanding the parameters for what we were going to be doing, preparing a budget. Clearly knew, keep it under 4.5%. That usually came from the Board of Finance after taking everything into account. But I just took a number out right at this moment, but here it is. And I was not, it's probably because, frankly, in the last iteration of my employment, that is exactly what I got as a principal. It has been decided that your budget increase will be X. Don't make it X plus 1, because the 1 is going to be taken off. It worked. It worked. And in fact, if you'll recall back a dozen or more years ago, what just tended to pass. Because everybody going into the budget process, the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Education, as well as the Board of Finance, all understood the parameter. I think that's what everybody is saying, is what we want to do is to, the recriminations that occurred in this back past budget season were unconscionable. Name calling and so on. Unconscionable. But I think all of that occurs because nobody knew the rules. Nobody knew the rules. And I think it's up to us because we're the last barrier before the citizens decide. And so we've got to set up rules that we think reflect what the community is looking to do. I think the exit surveys even though they're last year, provided a great deal of information about where the people of East Haddam were unhappiest. And they were very specific, and it wasn't just give the Board of Ed more, it was very specific about where, and they want us. They want us. I think we would all agree when we read it. They want us to give guidelines. And, we talked about this. We know we agree with it, but I think letting people know that that's where we are. I think this proposal that Harvey and Vala put together is outstanding and can serve our citizenry very, very well.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, I agree, it is outstanding. It's exactly what we need. But we're gonna need a timetable for this. The tri-board meeting started out 8 years ago, earlier in January, but over 8 years, they migrated to the end of January for a variety of reasons. We gotta stop that. We gotta have the tri-board in early January and prepared.
I was thinking December 24th.
That puts us in a good mood, doesn't it? So,
At least
Then I don't gotta hang out with family.
yeah. So we gotta have at least a first pass agreement.
So we have a budget calendar we usually look at in, I think it's December, right? So we might wanna look at it in November.
Yes.
if we can, I think we've got an election that's gonna change some things. That's fine. But give the people who are getting elected a little chance to catch up. But I don't think it would be that bad to try to do this the last week of November to maybe the second week of December. That gives folks coming into office a good month to catch up. And I believe most of them running for office already are on that path anyhow. So they're not gonna have to do that much catching up. And I think by providing people with what Harvey is proposing up front and in the schedule, I suspect this should work very well. And we know, those surveys tell us, this is what our citizens want us to do. Us, as a Board of Finance.
That's right, Bill, I agree with you 100%. Okay. Thank you, Robert. All right. Audit is next.
Update, yeah, another item I'll just constantly, keep on here. We see auditors for the 24-25 update, in November. We've been working, diligently uploading things into the portal, communicating back and forth, questions, things like that, so, it's a work in progress. I did wanna show, I put in our package a letter from the GFOA, so our 2023 audit did receive the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. And we got the little envelope to put on our plaque, and I was very excited about that, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a tough year too.
It was a very tough year, I can't believe that one got it, to be honest with you.
Well,
But, I
that'll
know
do
that Cindy
promotion.
Baricchio worked really hard to obtain this in 21 or in 2020, so we had one for 2020, 21, and then we got it again in 20. So, good job. I was happy to keep that going.
That's right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, no other comments or questions regarding the Finance Director's report? We'll move on to old business. And,
Did you wanna
yes,
put something on the table? Okay.
yes. Do we need a motion to add it?
Yeah, I would motion just to add a,
Discussion about our bond status.
yep, and
Our
debt
debt
service
status.
status, yeah,
Yeah.
debt status.
Okay, I would like to hear a motion to discuss our latest debt status, particularly as it focuses on, particularly with bonds. What's our bond status and what's our debt status? Not only total debt, but also debt service.
So moved.
Thank you, Maureen. Harvey seconds. Any discussion? I think it's appropriate for the fact that we're coming up with the bond vote next week. And people ask me questions about what is our debt and what's debt service. And what does all this mean?
Sure, so I'll just briefly go over what I
But
put in.
All those in favor?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
get a motion. Yeah,
Jump
right.
in there.
I was
It's
gonna
still
say,
on the table.
Would be nice to vote.
Yes, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I asked Valerie, what is our status today for debt? How much money is the town owed today? And how is, and also our debt service, what's our debt service? And how is that in our policies, our debt management policy, on page 6, it talks about the ratio of debt to the grand list. And also in the very next line, it talks about our debt service as a ratio to our annual budget. Well, it says debt, and I think there's a typo in the page 6 line item. It says debt, and it gives a number, but I think the number is more appropriate for debt service as a percentage of our
Yeah, it
annual
says
budget.
debt as the percentage of the budget. The ratio is 10%, ideally between two, the recommended ratio is 10%, ideally between 2 and 8. And then there's debt to full value of taxable grand list.
It's a typo.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was going, oh my God, did I miss something? Thank you, Arnie. Okay,
We can correct that.
okay. Well, okay, with that being said and clarified, thank you very much, folks. I really appreciate that. Today's debt, that's principal and interest, according to the,
Yep, sorry, I'm
green.
writing at the same time.
I'm going too fast probably, huh?
That's okay.
Um,
So this shows our debt from this current year, 2026, all the way down to 2046. And right now, if you add principal and interest together, that number all the way to the right on the bottom is 29,424,450. This includes our recent bond for the HVAC projects and open space and athletic complex and elementary school envelope and all that stuff. So this is our current debt as we stand.
Thank you. And what is that in percentage of our grand list?
I wonder if, I believe it's in this packet, but I bet we don't have the updated numbers, because we didn't have our bond numbers at that point, but I can look up. With our most recent grand list number. Just give me 1 second.
It's 1,190,000,000 and some odd dollars.
Yeah, maybe I'll just, if you don't mind, I'll just use that for conversation's sake.
Yeah, I just want to, the point I'm trying to make is that we're in the range that the state mandates. You're better
Yeah,
than
and
right.
again, when we go to, I'll show you here, we're at 2.47%.
Okay, and the range, the state says they don't want to go beyond 3%, right?
Correct.
So we're below
The
the,
recommended ratio.
yeah, we're below the state maximum, the state standard. Okay, so 2.4%, that's a good number to know.
And that's even taking our 26 budget up against our 25 budget grand list. Do you know what I mean? We don't
Yeah.
really have our 26.
Little offset.
Right, a little offset.
But that's the way the game is played.
But, and I also used a round number, so I didn't use the exact,
Okay, the bottom line, less than 3%.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're not
yeah.
violating anything.
It was, yeah, it was a conservative calculation, as it was.
Okay, the next question I have, our debt service for this year, in our budget for this year that was recently voted on by the town, it's 3 million some odd dollars. But that's supposed to be between 8 and 10% of our annual budget, right?
Correct,
So
yeah.
where are we there with that percentage?
So if I use 3 million as a round number, divided by, can I do 40 million as a round number?
I think it's 44, isn't it?
44.
44, thank you,
44.
good. That's why I say things out loud, it should be correct. We are at about 6.8.
6.8%,
Mm-hmm.
and the state allows, I forgot now.
It's a recommended ratio
3.
below 10%, ideally between 2 and 8.
Yeah, 2 and 8, that's what I thought. So we're in good shape there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, what number was that? The what?
That's
part of
our
budget?
annual budgeted debt service amount up against our budget number. So, it's our, I have the, presentation.
Yeah. Okay,
That's our budget for this year.
all right, so we're taking like the two numbers. Okay.
No, that's what we pay each year in debt, that's debt service we pay
An
each year.
annual
What she's
debt
showing here
service
is our
to
total.
annual budget.
So we're in good shape.
And so that's also during those bonding, that public hearing, I always bring this up, the Bill Lindsay graph, and he constantly checks our policies to what we're doing as we go through. I'm just kind of disclaimering, prefacing that conversation, that he's always checking what we're doing up to our policies as well.
We got somebody watching the numbers.
Yeah,
Other than
and
us.
when we say, oh, what about this, when we're using these projections, he's always checking into our policies as well. It's not in this actual packet, but I can print it for you guys. I did share it as a part of the bonding session informational session. And I can share it with you all as well if you want another copy of that.
Is Bill Lindsay's graphs, plots, numbers, is that on the website?
Yes.
So these folks in the audience can look.
Yeah,
anybody in
and maybe
town,
what I can do is I
you can
can,
look.
instead of it being lost in the old meeting dates, I can kind of we can bring it forward a little bit more. Or at least move it to this meeting date, because it gets lost in, the last time he came, it was, July of 24 or 25 or whatever, it kind of gets lost in those old meeting dates.
That's true, these numbers, they're live.
Right, and I can at least bring it to light.
Okay, so another thing I like to point out is the expression budget neutral. I know you folks in accounting, that's second nature, it's like English language. But to a lot of folks, they hear the word budget neutral. What? There's no neutral budget, I vote yes or no to it.
Well,
Up or down?
when you have an expense going out and a revenue coming in and it kind of equals zero or close to it,
So it's
that makes
flatline.
it neutral, yeah.
It means it's flatline.
Mhm.
If you plot it versus time, it basically approximates a flat.
Yeah,
line.
when you have 100,000 going out and 100,000 coming in, it's completely neutral to the budget.
And that's by intent on our part, correct?
Right, so, this is explained again here with this concept that we use, right, for this capital project savings concept.
Yeah.
So as we keep saving towards projects that we see coming down the pike, we retire old debt as we pay off debt. The transfer comes back in as revenue from capital project savings as we pay off the debt. And we keep saving and we put it some more out. So it's never zero, right? But the process in itself doesn't spike the budget by the cost of debt price, like by the principal and interest cost. It makes it so that you're putting $5 a month away, right? And then all of a sudden you go to pay your car payment with it and it's not taking the whole car payment out of your checking account, right? So you're using some of what you save towards future costs of debt payments.
Thank you, Ellen.
No, for all those that's old enough, it's like the old-fashioned Christmas club.
Yeah, yes, the passbook.
Put a buck in a week for 50 weeks, you got $50 to
Yeah.
buy. That's how old I am, where you could buy Christmas for $50.
$50.
There's the point. You save in advance, knowing what you're gonna be doing. I think we all understand that. I think Harvey has done a good job on that, and Val's done a good job in keeping us aware and keeping those numbers in sync in the budget. I think
Yeah, and so we have a portion of our debt that we pay from taxation and a portion of it that we pay from what we've saved. And as we pay it down, that transfer back in as revenue gets bigger too.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Do you think we can explain to the taxpayers when they ask you on the street?
Have we picked an option? I can't remember where we
So
are.
this was so we did in the meeting, we talked about
Okay.
it, yeah, so I'll go over this again if you want briefly.
No,
This
no,
was
I
just-
remember, I just couldn't remember if we had
Yeah.
made a decision.
We decided to obviously take the more conservative option to pay it off quicker.
Okay.
Right, so that
That's what
we
I remember.
structured the bonds and option number 2, right? We structured the bonds so that we have our first, it was option number 1. We took our first debt service payment this year instead of next year.
Right.
So,
It'll be in June.
yeah, we kind of remember the rip off the Band-Aid,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Okay.
So, remember this structure here that we were talking about when he's assigning these tasks, right? So assign task number 2 was
What
to
page
figure
you on?
out what it would look, page 13. We said, what would it look like if we started saving, and remember at the time, it was a $14 million firehouse. It was $865 for the town share bridges and $2.2 million for road improvements. So he calculated this on a $16 million bond of whatever combination of projects you can imagine, right? So we started saving already for this $16 million, right? Now, since months have gone by, the roads are being proposed, the fire trucks are being proposed, and the bridges are being proposed. Keep in mind, we're not gonna borrow for all of those in the same day, right? So we're gonna continue to work with Bill Lindsay to target, if we go back to our, on page number 15, I wanted to see. This is what our debt service is gonna look like with the new projects, right? The yellow is the new projects. But in the blue and the green, you see, blue and the green starts to go down towards 2030. We're targeting when this debt retires. So we can short-term borrow for roads to get to this date. We've talked about some, who knows when the fire trucks will be ready, you order them and they're 3 years down the road, you're not writing the check on the same day as the roads, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not, so we can creatively finance this and work with Bill Lindsay to make sure that we're rolling these bands out and rolling these bonds out in the best way that can target the drops of debt as we pay it off.
Right.
But we're saving for it right now. So even though this presentation says it's a firehouse and it's the bridges and it's an annual road, they may be different projects, but we did very smartly, if that's a word, start saving for these things in this past budget, so we can afford it moving forward.
And the intent is to follow a horizontal flat line.
Correct, that's your target,
That's our
that's your
target.
target funding goal.
Doing all that,
So
all
you see
this
the new
work
projects take you above it a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
for the
So-
short term.
Right, for the short term, and so what we'll do is when we have Bill Lindsay back out for this budget season, we'll say, okay, this is what we've acquired, this is what we're looking at. Where does that change our funding target, and where did now the yellow and the green and the blue move now?
Yep, understand.
It's-
Go ahead.
Well, the project has changed.
Right.
The dollar value hasn't.
It's very
We're
close.
still
right?
asking the community next
Yeah.
week
Right,
to approve $16 million
in total, right?
in total for the
I
fire.
don't know what this number is, quite frankly, because it's 14 million for the fire station, 865 for roads and bridges, 2.2 million annually.
Annually for.
So I don't know how many years that's in the, just that, I don't know how.
It goes out, I think, until the 30, because we
Okay.
targeted that.
So that's more
25
than
million of the
16,
road
you know what I
plan.
mean?
25 to
Yeah.
So this more
Yeah.
than, this depicts more than 16,
Over the years.
Right,
right,
so this is
because of
like
that annual road
30 plus
Long term,
14.
We're saying the
we're
short term
going
is
all the
the
way
same
out
thing.
here.
Instead
Right,
of
that's right.
But if it's built in all the way out here to 2047, then, again, I don't exactly know how much. is that.
2.5's in there, not just one.
Right, it's like
to your point.
30 million
Yeah,
plus
right.
the 14 million
Yep.
plus the 800,000.
Mhm.
So again, I wish we had a number.
Well, so
Like,
this will
is
be
it 30
how
million?
we-
So is it 44 million that this shows us borrowing 44 million?
Well, he
No.
usually puts it in his tables that support the graph. Like, here's your table that supports the graph, you know
So
what
I think he went out like 5 years. I mean, he didn't want to go out that far
Right.
with covering a whole project.
725.
Oh, here it is.
additional
It's on the
funding.
side
Yeah.
in the gray box.
Yeah.
Additional 21.6 million in borrowing.
So that must be your 2.5
Off
out
across
for
for
10 million.
Something,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yep.
So
And then, yeah, he's always great about having the charts that support the graph, so,
Yes.
yeah.
So one thing, I'm glad you reprinted this from February, because when the fire trucks came before us, I thought I had missed a meeting, because I didn't remember in all our conversations about bonding, talking about the fire trucks previously. So I'd like to ask that we add to the list of requirements for the budget, like a list of things that are gonna come before us as bonds. I feel like we finished the budget, and like the next month, there was talk about $3 million for fire trucks. And I'm like, well, where did this come from? So
Yeah, we
I think it could have been, you know, I don't know. Again, we've had several meetings about bonding, never came up. We had a whole months of conversation about budget, never came up, and then it came up after. So again, I thought it was just me, and maybe I didn't remember or whatever. So it's interesting now to see this from February.
Right,
I
you're
wasn't
remembering.
crazy. It wasn't on here.
I'm trying to drill to departments, to everybody, that ClearGov isn't just for capital paid out of taxation, right? We can have multiple funding sources in ClearGov. So I think the roads should be in there. I
Yeah.
think the fire truck, and they are now in there, but to that point, that's what I tried to drill home with. Even if it's gonna be bonding or grants or paid some other way, we need to still have it
Right,
all
we
in the
need to
list.
see a full financial picture.
Yeah, all on the list, all
I
in our capital plan.
feel
yeah.
it was a little piecemeal instead of looking at a comprehensive picture.
So I keep trying to drill everybody back to that ClearGov to have one source of information.
Okay.
And what we can do there is there's multiple boxes for funding sources, right? We change the funding source. It just doesn't all come out of taxation. It could come out of bonding,
Right.
it could come out of, but at least to keep it on the list so things don't get forgotten about. They don't get not seen,
Well,
they don't get.
again, one thing that came up, I remember when we had our conversation about the budget, we had a higher, our bond fund balance had gotten a little high, so we put that out, and maybe that could have gone to us fire trucks instead of,
If it made sense.
it's just a conversation we could have had at that time, but we weren't aware of it. So that's, I just want to see a complete picture.
Well, it's also, excuse me, I know you want to talk about. It's also, we've got many different folks in the town network that want to do things.
Mhm.
And it's cooking and boiling in their little department.
Yeah.
But then suddenly, the bond idea popped up. I think they just want to put the fire trucks on an annual budget thing.
They were.
Yeah, I thought so.
They were. And
Think
I was-
about that, when the
yeah.
bond idea came up, well, that's a great idea.
Mhm.
Then instead of one fire truck, we should get these 2 fire trucks to replace the 4. And so people start thinking, and that's, and putting things together. So we gotta be careful of these multiple inputs we're getting from people. We gotta,
Yeah, we
Harvey's
have one
point,
source of
Harvey's system should
information.
help dampen that out. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be better communicated and more organized, and so fully understandable by all parties, including
Mm-hmm.
us. And so I think that's where you got confused, Maureen. I was a little confused too.
I didn't get confused.
You
We weren't aware of it, like it's.
Well, that's right. It's confusion to me when I'm not aware. It's automatic
Yeah.
confusion. So that's what you need to do. Bill, you want to say something?
As I recall, going back, there were conversations about a number of capital projects. We did talk about $14 million, and there was a proposal put together about a new firehouse. However, there was never a building committee. That was done by an ad hoc committee. Selectmen have now appointed a building committee who are charged with responsibility of coming up with a plan and a dollar value and bringing it forward to us and to the community, but that hasn't been done. Conversations about a new library are much the same. It's all been without detail. There's never been a formal building committee appointed. There's never been anything in that regard. So those are just conversation pieces. But there are, and I can remember the director of public works talking about AP Gates and BB Road and what would happen if they don't get done. I can remember talking about the roads. And I think we had talked about up to 10 million a year, 10 million over a decade for at least 3 decades. We talked about that at this meeting, and we've even had conversations about how that's going to be done. And we did talk about the fire wagons. I can remember this audience being filled with members of the fire department telling us about it. So those three proposals, which we voted on and sent to a town meeting to send to the voters, were, I think, in ways impacted by here. We talked about that. And the value, the yearly value that we put into that for debt service is what, $2.5 million?
That's your funding target.
That's our funding
Yeah,
target.
Yep.
Okay, there it is. We put, so these are, while the other projects, the firehouse, the library, and the remainder of the roads are out in the atmosphere. They are not anything firm at this point. They're just, because we haven't received, other than the roads, which is kind of a little tighter, we've never received the formal proposal of what it's going to cost to replace that firehouse. We've never received their formal proposal of what it's going to cost to replace Rathbun and East Haddam Free. Never have. So I think we need to take them out of the equation. I would like to think, and I say this naively, that the lack of attendance at the town meeting about the three bonding problems, and I don't know if you did that, but there were more elected and appointed officials at that meeting than citizens. There were 6 of us and 5 citizens. Is because we've done a good job of explaining to people what we are looking at. I could be wrong. And if it's Monday, isn't it? I'm allowed to be wrong on Monday. My wife told me that. I can be wrong, but only once. So this could be, but I really did. I think we have done an admirable job because of the questioning we have done and the work we did in putting a budget together, in explaining to the public what these projects are all about. In my opinion.
They have a building committee now for the fire department.
Yes.
Are they gonna come and give us updates? I don't wanna end up with another like budget situation where they're gonna come and say, you know, it's gonna be 15.5 million as a done deal, and then we've gotta fit it into this. I don't know.
Well, first of all, to your point, we don't know the number. What is the number? That's something, I think they're not ready to give us a number yet, I don't think.
That phase 1 of.
Yeah, so we got enough to do right now.
Craig,
We can estimate,
Yeah.
Craig knows.
Yeah, you can check in with Craig.
yeah.
See where they're at.
But you make a good point, Maureen. They should come and give us a status.
I mean, again, it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do we tell them after analysis how much we can afford, or do they tell us what they need? And we tell, I don't know, like we just threw in an extra 3 million for fire trucks. Does that mean they can only have 11 now? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's something to.
And then
consider.
although this only has, I'm sorry, Bill, I'll go.
Okay.
Although this only has the first 10 million in it for the roads, we've committed to seeing the roads through. So even though there's only 10 million in here, we know there's gonna be another 20. And I know the bill won't like project out that far because there's too many uncertainties, but this isn't the whole picture,
And
because
that
we
will
know
continue
there's
to build
another,
in as we
Right.
build into that, as we
So-
continue to update these. Right.
and again, so it's, 14 and then 3 more that we didn't anticipate and 20 more that's not included. And so I just don't want to get to a point where it's like, oh, there go the roads, kick that can, because
No, we're not gonna do that.
I'm just saying, like, we got.
No, we're not gonna do that.
What?
Don't kick it down the road.
Then our- but our road.
It's in the referendum language,
So
the
then-
10 million is for roads and bridge improvements.
So then, that's what I'm getting at though, so then we get to a point where we tell the building commission, like, well, we didn't anticipate 3 million in trucks. And interest rates went up 0.25%, so we can only afford 13 million now. Like, I just don't know at what point we're giving them some parameters, like we're planning on doing with the budget. Do we wait till they're done with all their work and they paid for all their schematics and they paid for all their engineering studies and they paid for everything and they come to us with, again, something slightly higher than 14, and then we tell them, well, you have to be slightly lower than 14. So I just don't know.
Harvey. Bill, I think you were first in Harvey.
If I can. You spent, I believe, 10 years as chairman of the high school building committee.
Yes.
I've served on enough building committees. Building committees are appointed by the town, in this case, the Board of Selectmen. It's given a charge. The charge for the committee for the firehouse is to come up with a plan. which has to get approved by a lot of people before it goes to the town. Ultimately, it will be the Board of Selectmen first, and then this board that will decide what it is we're gonna ask the town to spend. It will not be the building committee. As Todd can tell you, and as I can tell you, you get back all kinds of stuff when you submit your first plan. No, you're not gonna do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There will not be surprises like that. And Craig worked on this building. I have great faith in his ability. You have people who know how the process goes. A building committee's request is not final.
Sure.
It is nothing more than a proposal, and they've got to, but it is the Board of Selectmen first who will put a number on it. It is this board that will put a number on it, and then it'll be the town will decide whether that number works or not. And I have done enough building committees, and I know what happens to them. And yes, then you have to go back as a building committee and say, okay, they're not going to give us 15 million. We can only get 14. Let's see what, you go back to the architects whom you've hired to design the plan, say, okay, knock $1 million out of this. What can we do within the parameters of the task we were given with $14 million? And I can assure you they can do it. I can assure you, but this committee and the town will not be blindsided when the numbers come in. And if they ever put together a library one, it'll be the same thing. It ain't gonna be a surprise.
That's right. We made regular reports when I was the building.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, like, I mean, it will be a surprise if we don't get.
Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I think
And our budgets.
Once they get going, yeah.
We designed
perfect.
to a certain
That was
size,
my
we designed with a track, and we, as our costs got more finite and more higher confidence, we had to cut things out to meet the budget.
To keep in
We had a
the,
budget of 13.9 million just for the high school. We did another couple million, work on the middle school and the elementary school. But for high school, we had a set budget.
Right.
to work with.
Yep.
And which we felt we could deliver a
Okay,
good
so
high
that speaks
school.
to my point then, I guess. You, at some point, somebody sat down with numbers and said, here's your budget. So,
Well, yeah.
like, so was that after you had done all your work and come up with one number and then you proposed one number and then they cut your number down? Like, is that how that worked?
It's a little bit of iteration. It's like I won't say a wish list, but this is our design. The town said they wanted this, they wanted a track.
And you
We
said
went
that's
out-
all gonna cost you
Yeah.
something and
And so
then the
then-
town said we don't have that.
and-
Okay, I just
well,
didn't know.
If
how
if the bids, it was a bid job, so if
Okay.
the bids came in lower and we had a minimum of change orders, which we worked real hard to do, we had a very low number of change orders on this job. We can have money left over, we can do these other things we want to do, but we ran into rock. Ran into rock. 55,000 cubic yards of rock blasted. It was, so that kind of killed our budget, along with a few other things, but I can spend all day talking about that job. But anyway, that's what we did. And, but we made sure the finance knew where we were, because the Board of Finance, they control the purse strings. And we weren't gonna write any checks, we can't cash. And so, we're very careful about that. So, but, okay, and now it's Harvey's turn. I'm sorry.
I think the Maureen's suggestion of inviting them, the Firehouse 2 Building Committee, to just come for a brief chat. Where are you at? What are your numbers looking like now? And you think, yeah, I ain't gonna do $17 million firehouse, right? So, because the plan they proposed was wonderful, but
Yeah, whether that's quarterly updates for now while they're getting underway or whatever.
Yes. So is there a consensus that I should invite the building committee for the firehouse to come to meet with us, give us a status? Okay. Do we need a vote for that, or consensus is sufficient?
You just put it on the agenda.
Yeah, we'll put it on. for
Okay.
next- Or.
All right,
I'll
I'll-
talk to them whenever.
All right, folks, next meeting should be an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting.
We've had some really interesting ones.
So, okay, well, It'll be on the agenda for next meeting. I'll invite them to come. Thank you. All right, any discussion regarding our debt management and where we are today with debt numbers? Okay, goodness, I lost the agenda. Okay, any questions on the year-to-date on table?
Oh, we were in old business, so.
Yeah, that's right, we're old business, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Any more old business? Any new business?
The acceptance of the minutes, I believe we moved.
yes.
That's No, we moved to after new business.
Yeah, we did.
Before adjourned.
We moved
Before
that.
adjourned.
Okay.
So if there is no new business,
I think technically it's new business, but that's okay. Or you made a new item, that's okay. But that's just, I just want to remind people.
Yeah, we don't forget that.
Shall I give you folks a few minutes to look over the meeting minutes? Yikes, maybe more than a few minutes.
It was the one that was
No,
on resolution.
We had to read all those resolutions,
Yeah,
three
that's right,
resolutions,
yeah.
boilerplate.
Very long.
Valerie, I don't know if you looked through the June 24th meeting, but I was absent. I did not second
Oh,
the
we had
motion.
to, we
I
had
did
to
not
correct
second the
that,
motion
yeah.
to, I am neither Mr.
We
Goff,
had to correct that.
nor did I
yes.
second that motion, so.
We fixed it.
That was in my notes on the
Yeah.
last meeting, yeah.
I mean, technically you don't need a motion to approve, you just need to accept minutes now.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, that is true. You don't need a formal you can do it, don't get me wrong. But the revised speedy Robert's rules now allows for reports such as the secretary's, the minute report to be accepted as presented. And then you can make corrections, edits, etc. And then simply note in the minutes that you have accepted them as corrected. Now, that's up to you. I'm just telling you, you don't need a formal motion anymore,
Okay,
for whatever reason.
we don't need it. It's gonna take a little while to read through this myself. Except, okay, well, it's actually 2 pages, that's all. Okay. Again, Bill, what's the language?
I think, well, all it is that you ask for corrections, any additions,
I
corrections.
make a motion to accept the minutes
Fine,
as
just do it.
presented.
There you go. There you go. Then you
Okay.
can do that too.
We'll research how to do it for next time.
Oh,
Do I hear a second?
bring the book in.
Eric seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion, the meeting minutes are approved. Thank you very much. All right, next is adjournment. Okay, Eric moves. Do I hear a second?
Second,
Maureen seconds. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
we'll look into that, make it go quicker if we don't
You
have
know,
to.